Hi, it's Kai and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing my Project Pan 2024 wrap-up video. We're going to go over whether I hit my goal of getting 55% completion with my Project Pan products, which products I actually finished versus the ones that I didn't, and the progress on them, and whether or not I think I'm going to keep them in my Project Pan for 2025. So anyway, let's just stop the chatter and get right into it. So at the beginning of the year, I said that I wanted to have a 55% completion rate for my Project Pan products, and I calculated my completion rate a few different ways. So if we go about everything that I started with, added in, and finished for the year, I had 9 products finished out of 19 total products that ended up being in my Project Pan. And that would be a completion rate of 47.4%. So a little bit off from what I would have wanted, a little bit lower than what I wanted, not even quite, 50% completion. But I also have to consider that the latter half of the year, I was dealing with a really difficult bout of depression or burnout. I don't know really which one it is. It might be both of them, you know what I'm saying? As a neurodivergent person, you don't really sometimes know whether you are dealing with things that are like, oh, this is like something that people would regularly get depression for, or if it's, just burnout from having certain expectations put on you that your brain doesn't work that way. Anyway, I did have a pretty bad bout of not really doing my makeup, not really wanting to even get out of bed for the latter part of the year. So considering that I haven't done my makeup probably as consistently as I would have without that bout of depression, I would say that I probably would. I know there's at least one of these products because I'm even right now 3 or so days from finishing it. So I know I could have finished at least one more product, and that would have gotten me to 10 out of 19, and that would have tipped me over the 50% mark. So I still probably wouldn't have hit 55%, but I would have been closer to my goal. Out of the 9 products that I finished, 8 of them were the original products that I had in my Project Pan from the beginning of the year, and only one of them was a replacement product that I finished. So if we only consider the original 15 products that I put in, I finished again 8 of those 15, which is a 53.3% completion rate. And that to me, again, it still isn't technically the 55% goal that I wanted for myself, but I would say that is pretty darn good considering 6 months out of the year I was barely putting on makeup. So I think for next year, I probably will keep my goal at 55% and hopefully be able to actually hit that and be more consistent with doing my makeup and trying my products and, just rotating through them and using them. I'm now going to list off every product that I finished this year. Obviously, I don't have them to hold up. I didn't want to keep them, and it's something that I've gone back and forth about whether I want to take a box and keep all of my Project Pan products until the end of the year, or because I know that I am such a clutter-ridden type person, just going ahead and throwing them out because I need to not hoard them. I need to not have the space being taken up, you know what I'm saying? So I probably will continue to get rid of them as I go, just because I think with the space that I have and some of the other goals that I have of just in general getting more organized and decluttering my space, that will be better than, hanging on to a lot of trash. But I would love to be able to keep all of it and be able to see at the end of the year, or even my empties videos, see how much stuff did I actually get throughout the year. Anyway, everything that I finished was the Bath & Body Works Pretty as a Peach body mist, the Philosophy Falling in Love Perfume mini size, the Ellis Brooklyn Myth mini size or deluxe sample size technically, the Persona Cosmetics 24/7 waterproof pencil, the Glossier Perfecting Skin Tint, the Milani Conceal and Perfect Stick Foundation, which that will be in my next empties video. I've got to film that as well for like the end of the year. The Kat Von D, which I know the fact that it was Kat Von D and not technically KVD tells you how long that I had that powder, but I finally finished it this year. I finished the Tower 28 Bronzino, or one of them. I had two of them. And again, to kind of restate, which those of you guys who have been following along with my Project Pan already know all of this, but my Project Pan goal for the year was kind of to get rid of some of the duplicates. I have a few products where I have them either in multiple colors, or in the case of perfume, have them in multiple sizes, like the full size and then a little travel size or something like that. So my goal was to try to get rid of some of those duplicates. So I technically had two shades of the Tower 28 Bronzino, and I finished the lighter one of the two. I think it's Best Coast, or no, Best Coast. I'm pretty sure it is. It'll be linked down below. I finished a Bite Beauty, which RIP to a real one, but the Bite Beauty Chai mini lipstick that I had, and that was all of them that I finished this year. So again, I would say I'm happy with that progress, even though I didn't technically hit my goal. I feel like I got through some heavy duty items like foundations, I got through a powder, I got through a bronzer, you know what I'm saying? And I honestly am most impressed with my ability to go through fragrances, because I have a lot of fragrances as well. I love fragrance, and it was just like I tried so many new fragrances this year, and I also kept track of all of that. I'm literally compiling all of the data for my most used fragrances of the year. I've already done my like top favorite picks of the year, but I also wanted to do the more like nerdy analytical side of how many times I wore certain perfumes and which ones were my actual like most worn and stuff like that. So stay tuned for all of that. But I wore a whole bunch of different perfumes this year, tried a whole bunch of new stuff, and was still able to finish 3 fragrances, or what I had left in 3 fragrances. So I would say that's pretty good. Speaking of fragrances, the one that I did not finish was Mix Bar Vanilla Bourbon, which over the past few weeks that I have been wearing it just here and there, I liked it more than when I've like sniffed it. And I think it's totally something where the time of year that you smell or use a fragrance can really impact how you feel about that fragrance. As much as we want to say like, oh, you don't have to wear certain fragrances, and you don't, of course, you don't have to wear certain fragrances in certain times of year, but some of them just smell better. This is like a woody vanilla. It's supposed to be like a boozy vanilla, but to me it doesn't quite hit on super boozy in my opinion, but it is a really pretty scent, and there's a lot of times where I sniff it and I'm just kind of like, I'm not really in the mood for a woody vanilla. And to be fair, woody vanillas are probably my least favorite vanilla. However, again, over the past few weeks, I have been using this a little bit more. Like I think I maybe used it once in the beginning 3/4 of the year, and then sometime at the end of October I was just kind of like, oh, this isn't that bad, and I've used it a little bit more consistently. Of course, I can't really tell how much product is left in here with the type of, you know, gel pen opaque packaging it has. I'm hopeful that I don't know, I kind of want to put this in my Project Pan for next year, or like continue to roll it in for at least the first quarter of next year. Something I've kind of been playing, or this year technically, since we're already in 2025, but I give myself January to like get myself together. I'm not a person who feels like you got to jump into 2025 and automatically be go, go, go out the bat, outside of the fact that like that is not how our bodies were designed to ever be. That's not how any mammal's bodies are designed to be, you know what I'm saying? So again, I've been thinking about doing more of a quarterly project pan so that I'm able to rotate products out that like maybe in certain times of the year I might like better than in other times of year. Let me know what you think about that, and if you have any other type of project pan procedural things that worked for you that you think might be helpful for me. But yeah, so I don't know if this is one that will get finished this year or if I'll roll it into my project pan for 2025, but it is one that I think I want to, whether it is in my project pan officially or not, try to finish, because I do have like another roller ball of this fragrance, and I even got a gift set for my birthday that has a mini size of it, and I've debated like, do I just want to pass that along to someone else who might get more use out of it and keep the other two fragrances that I like out of the set, or if I'm just going to like keep all of the fragrances in the set and try to finish up like the mini sizes that I have. So anyway, don't know exactly what I'm doing with that yet, but again, vanilla bourbon is one that, depending on the time of the year, I either really like it or I'm just on the fence about it. Into the makeup products, the eyeshadow that I had in here was the NYX Nude Matte Shadow in Dance the Tides, which I definitely put a really good dent in this year. It is, you know, very obviously coming down to the wire. However, with powder products, it just feels like powder products last forever, honestly. No matter how much of this I gunk up on my brush to apply to my eye, it just always feels like I am digging a deeper hole or like a never ending hole. But it's something where I kind of, since it is more of a neutral shade that can go with pretty much any type of eyeshadow look, I kind of want to, you know, throw this in my project pan for 2025. But I also am thinking about putting in like a shimmery shade in my project pan as well, because part of me is just kind of like, oh, I'm focusing so much, and while focusing on this shade has helped me dip into different palettes and products and like try to use what I have to construct a look around using this, I also am just kind of like, I could be, you know, maybe pairing this with a shimmery shade for a complete eyeshadow look that isn't just like a matte all over one shade all over the crease or all over the eyelid type of look, and just see if that would actually like help me also use up another product, you know, just instead of rotating through my collection of different shimmery single shadows, just focusing on one. Anyway, again, I probably will put this in my project pan for next year because I've been trying to finish it for so long at this point. I do really like this shadow. I don't think they make these individual shadows anymore though, or at least not like this specific line of them. They might have revamped it. I don't really know. Part of the way through the year, when I had finished the Persona brown liner that I wanted to finish, I put in the Pixie by Petra Endless Silky Eye Pen in the shade Black Noir, which this was a like small pencil. It came in a holiday set, so it wasn't like a full, you know, length pencil, but it was still a considerable size larger than this, and it is honestly down to the nubbins. It is close to the point where you won't be able to even read the name off of it. It's, you know, down so low, and I don't know if there is eyeliner down to the bottom of this pencil, because this top part actually, when I was sharpening it, came out a little bit, and there was only like honestly about a millimeter as much as what's showing, which let me focus it or see if it'll, yeah, it's not going to focus on this pencil. It was basically just the nub that is, you know, showing on the pencil that was left. So again, one that I think, especially since right now it's the winter time, I will probably be able to get use out of it, finish it. I'm actually wearing it Today, for my black eyeliner that I have on, I definitely think this is one that, again, whether I officially put it in my project pan for 2025 or not, I'll probably be able to finish in like the first quarter of the year. Moving on to complexion, this is the product that I said would have tipped me over the at least 50% point had I used it and had I just worn makeup a little bit more, and it's the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. This is how much of it I have left. It is basically only in the corners of the product. I scooped some out of the edges to put in the middle just to kind of see it, but like I said, I basically have 3 or so days use of this left. So had I just worn makeup a little bit more toward the end of the year, this one definitely would have been finished. It's an okay product still. I still am just kind of like a good skincare routine will get you pretty much where you need to go with your makeup. This isn't something that I notice like helps. Like my makeup stays on pretty well. That's not really an issue I have with my makeup when I'm done with like all of my products that I use. So I don't know. And I don't necessarily feel like this makes my face look smoother or anything like that. It's not one that I think I would repurchase once I'm done with it. I don't think there's a lot of primers I would purchase at all. Then there's the Too Faced Born This Way multi-use sculpting concealer in the shade Maple, which if you look at it, I know like the sides, if you really look at it again up close, you can see how much is scraped off the sides and even down to the bottom of the bottle. If you look inside, you see there's still a bit down at the very bottom, but part of me has this a little bit of a vendetta against makeup companies because they'll just like, why can't we get all of the product out of the tube? And I took the stopper out of this to like really make sure that I was getting all of the product. Why do we need another product, a makeup spatula, in order to be able to get all of the product that we have out of your item? Again, it's one of those things where I can either just say, oh, I'm calling it quits. I finished it because I finished what will literally scoop out on the actual applicator, and I could just call it quits now, but also technically the product isn't finished. And that's kind of what happened with the Milani foundation. I was using the foundation, I got it down to like where the stick was basically scraping against my skin each time, and I was like, I could either dig the foundation out and use what's down in the component, or I can just call it quits now. I did call it quits because that one started smelling a little bit, but with this one, I don't think it's smelling. Yeah, not really. So yeah, I just have, an internal battle with that. I probably will, scrape out at least a little bit more of it because there looks to be quite a bit, stuck at the bottom, but it's definitely one that I think I could finish by, or probably will finish by sometime, in the middle of the year. I think I am going to keep that one officially in my project pan just because, again, it's one that I want to finish. To replace the KVD powder that I had finished, I put in the Kosas Cloud Set powder in the shade Pillowy, which the packaging has broken, but we've got pretty good progress on this one. We're definitely seeing a lot of pan. I basically just have mainly what's on this side and, around the edges, but it's pretty flattened out. So again, I think this is one that I will be able to finish by the end of this year, regardless of whether I put it officially in my project pan, which I think I will, just because, setting powder isn't a part of my makeup routine where I'm just like, oh, I need to use something different. I want to switch it up. It's kind of just a, means to an end for me. And of course, good setting powders. I love trying different things to find ones that work really well with my skin and everything. But on the whole, as a step in my routine, it's not something where I'm thinking about it a lot. I'm not thinking like, oh, what color blush do I want to do? Like, do I want to do sparkly or not? So I definitely think I could finish that one by the end of this year, even again, if I didn't put it in, but I probably will put it into focus. Then there is the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, which again, really good progress. I feel like at the beginning of this year, I had just like a kind of smaller hole of, you know, pan on it. And I, again, have basically just what is around the edges. And I definitely think before, I have always said, I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish this one. 2025, if I focus on it, is a year where I think that I can actually finish this bronzer. So I kind of want to put it in the project pan or keep it in the project pan just to be able to like say like I used it this long for X many years and was able to finally finish it. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'll just feel such a great sense of accomplishment by finishing this one in particular. The Flower Beauty Blush Balm is another one where I can't exactly show you how much I have left, but like being able to shine it through a light, it definitely looks like I'm down somewhere like here. And I know that every time I have used it more recently, it's been sputtering out. Something that using this year has made me discover is that even more than the shade of this, it's one where when I'm a little bit fairer, it works better for me. And that was the main reason I originally wanted to pan this. But I also just realized that I don't think I love the formula. It's a little bit too dewy, a little bit kind of slippery, slidey on the face. And I think I'm just in an era of my life where I want my products to be a little bit lower maintenance. I have, though, through trying to use this product up, used it with the Danessa Myricks Color Fix. I used it with one of the matte shades and it worked really good for helping this be more like stay a little bit more and be a little bit less, you know, greasy, slippy, slidey. So again, another one where I really want to be able to finish it by, you know, the end of this year, and we'll maybe focus on it a little bit more to see if I can finish it up. But it also, the color has been an issue for consistent use throughout the year because like right now, even though you can't really tell since the lighting in my room is more warm, but right now I have a more pinky type of shade than like these orangey or apricot type of blush shades, and I just have been wearing more pinky or even like red brick type of blushes, and I typically go for those more in the winter time. So I didn't find myself wanting to use this shade until the spring and summertime, but it was warming up, which means my face was like getting sweaty throughout the day, and this looked like even greasier, you know, if I wore it outside. So yeah, that one, I want to finish it. I wouldn't say it's completely a hate pan, but it's definitely, I'm trying to finish this product up because I just don't want it anymore. The ColourPop Drop of a Hat Super Shock Cheek. I did do what one of you guys suggested, which was to scrape the, you know, Super Shock Cheek from around the edges of it and like get it in the middle. I don't know if I exactly like doing that. I feel like it made some of these like chunks. I don't know if you can really tell, and I think I've talked about it in one of my makeup videos recently, but you can see those kind of like chunks where if I put my brush in this, it'll just pick up the whole chunk and then deposit it on my face, and I have to like peel it off instead of it actually being like the proper texture and consistency. And this wasn't as easy to like smush back down together as, you know, what I thought it would be for the type of formula it was. So while I appreciate the tip from whoever said to do that, I don't necessarily condone that tip, especially if you're a person who doesn't like your makeup to get super messy. It's not like necessarily a lot of it. I think I can finish it by the end of the year. It's one that, again, I'm just kind of like tired of using. I want to use other things in my collection, so maybe I will stray from it for a little while, use something else, and then return to it after that. But again, it's also one where it's like I've come so far with it that I might as well try to finish it. You know what I'm saying? And then lastly, we have the Buxom Powerful Plump, which I put in to replace the Bite Beauty lipstick that I finished. And this is how much I have left. I can't even, like, it's all the way rolled up. It honestly, even part of this right here, from the thicker pink part up to like right here, is actually a little, plastic component. So it's kind of, again, one of those things where I can either use up as much as, what's left. And I'm gonna put a little bit on my lips right now, just because, but I can use what of it I have left, or I could be like, oh, I'm going to dig deep in it. Again, lip products aren't necessarily ones that I am going to, or honestly, any product, I feel as though, again, it shouldn't be my responsibility unless I really like the product, again, but it shouldn't be my responsibility as the consumer to get all of the product out, or to not waste product or throw away product when they create the components in a way. Like, it's the year of 2025. We definitely could use technology to find ways to package products so that we're able to not have this issue. And there are some brands who have different solutions to this issue, but I'm just saying, as far as it not being like on the broader, the industry norm, getting off my soapbox about that, once it's done, once I kind of get to the point where putting it on makes the applicator, or, that outer ring scrape against my lips, I am going to call it a finish. And hopefully that will be by the end of this month. It's again one where over the past few days I've just kind of been putting it on randomly to try to finish it. I want to finish this in particular, not only because I have, again, duplicates or a lot of them, but because I don't really purchase from Buxom anymore. I didn't like their response when they launched a product that was not really inclusive, and people were just kind of like, hey, this launch wasn't really inclusive. So I don't really purchase from them anymore, and have wanted to declutter their products from my, what do you call it? But also, if you've been following throughout the year, some people might be allergic to this. And I had gone on some dates throughout the year, and there was one person who potentially was allergic to this. So that's something that you should maybe look out for, and even for yourself, because it is one of those like lip plumping, kind of, it's not minty, but it is a little bit, well, maybe it is minty, but it tingles a little bit as well. So if that's something that could irritate your lips, definitely look out for that as well. But that was all of the Project Pan products for 2024. That was the wrap up. And yeah, let me know how you guys did with your Project Pans for the year, or if you are only just starting to do them in 2025 and you're kind of gleaning inspiration, what made you want to do one, what products you're starting with. Again, I will have my Project Pan 2025 video intro up probably by the end of this month, but again, I usually use January to just give myself like okay, what type of products am I even gravitating toward right now? Which ones am I almost done with? Which ones do I wish I was done with, to kind of shape what my Project Pan will be for the year. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you're safe and healthy wherever you are when you're watching this, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.